Hello, everybody. Good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon to all of you who are here. And I have to thank the members of the UPSA Alumni Foundation for inviting me to share with you this afternoon. And allow me to thank my friend, Dr. Angelini. Andrea, ciao. It's so nice to hear you, albeit virtually. And I will be sharing with you this afternoon many things that Andrea mentioned, but perhaps more particular to the Philippine Madrigal Singers, to my choir. This past year has really been challenging. I don't know anyone who did not go through a period of adjustment in their work. I know many who are still going through that, students, teachers. I know I am in some aspects, but that's okay. I take confidence from thinking that everyone else is going through the same thing. Last year, the MADS had a concert at the Cultural Center of the Philippines on February 28th and March 1. For those of you who have seen us in concert at the CCP, you should know that we always meet our audience after the concert. So all those people would gather in the lobby, much smaller than the size of the theater. That's the time we shake hands with them, we hug our friends and families, we take pictures together. So you should know how we felt a few days after that when we heard from the news that more and more people were getting sick. Oh no. Well, fortunately, none of us got sick that time. Right after that, we started preparing for another concert, which we were supposed to do on March 18. Then we were locked down on March 15, was it? We decided to take that opportunity to, like many choirs, to have a break and enjoy the time spent with our families. Some of the singers decided to go home as far as Quezon Province, Cagayan de Oro, Davao. Shortly after that, our alumnus, Ailey Matthew Maniano, invited many former members of the MATS to join him in a virtual choir project of a new composition he was inspired to write. So this was Be Still My Soul. Ailey, for those of you who know him, is really a man of many talents. He's a singer, he's a composer, he's a chef, he cooks. He was supposed to study flying, he was supposed to become a pilot, but that had to be postponed. And for this project, he was the one who did all the audio engineering and all that. So we were really amazed. I continue to be amazed by this person, by his talents. But if you ask me what I did during the break, I can proudly tell you that I learned how to cook. For the first time, I was preparing my own food. Well, it's a bit shameful that I'm only doing it now, but I'm proud of myself for having done that. Anyway, after 2 months of having a break with the current members, we thought we cannot continue like this. We thought to ourselves that we have to do something. We have to continue singing and share our music with others. But we could not meet face to face. Aside from the fact that people were prohibited from gathering in groups, we, choirs, were told that we are super spreaders of the virus. And so we decided to start meeting online and think of ways to make music. Then we realized that we needed to sing, not only for the others, but for ourselves as well. We felt that since we were called to sing, then we should not let anything stop us from doing so. To be able to do what we were called to do makes us happy. And so, like all the choirs, like not all the choirs, like many choirs, we ventured on doing something virtually. At that time, one of the newer members submitted to me an arrangement of a song I was not familiar with. I was surprised to receive this from him, who is a chemistry major. I looked at it, I looked at the words, and thought to myself, this is a good song with a good message for people to ponder on, especially during this time. So, when we started meeting online in late May, I told the singers about my plan. We had to spend time studying how to do these virtual performances. It was only in August that finally we were able to release our first video performance.
If this has been a test, I cannot see the reason, but maybe knowing I don't know is part of getting through. I try to do what's best, and faith has made it easy to see the best thing I can do is put my trust in you. For you know better than I. You know the way. I've let go the need to know why, for you know better than I.
Around this time last year, if you remember, our medical practitioners were overwhelmed by the rising COVID cases. Up to now, they remain so as we continue to beat our record for the highest number of cases reported in a day. It was also around this time last year that virtual choir productions were being posted one after the other in social media. Choir started to realize, I guess, that as doctors and nurses take care of the physical well-being of people, we in the choral community contribute to the spiritual and mental well-being of our listeners through the music that we share. For the MADS, this is not something new. Our founder, Professor Andrea Veneracion, used to remind us always that when we perform, it will be easy to think that it's all about us, especially with the attention that we get, or that we could get, or the applause that we would receive. Although we work hard to make sure we perform each song excellently, at the end of the day, it's not really about what we can do, but rather what we can give to our listeners and how we can inspire them to do something in their lives. At the beginning of the lockdown, there were many conductors who were, well, yeah, I mean, up to now, who are critical of doing virtual choir performances, no, with their members. But I cannot blame them. I'm sure that for those of you who have tried doing it or have been involved in doing such a project, you may agree with me if I say that there is really no substitute for live singing or live choral rehearsals. You can always, this is not real choir singing. We don't actually sing together. We don't hear each other. We don't synchronize with each other. We don't breathe together. These are exactly the things that make singing together beneficial to our health. It, that's the exciting and exhilarating part. We enjoy the process when we experience all these in our rehearsals and performances. Nevertheless, we have to go back to the reason we do this. We sing together because we want to provide music that can move or touch other lives or other hearts. We may not be getting as much benefits, as many benefits as we did before when we were singing together, but we can still continue to give what we have been giving others for their spirits, for their souls. For now, this is probably one of the best that we can do. And between doing this and not doing anything at all, what would we choose? Every time we come up with a project such as a concert or an album, perhaps it has become kind of part of our sense of aesthetics to make sure we are grounded on what occurs around us, on what matters during that time. This thought is what fueled us to proceed with the organization of our very first virtual version of the Mads et al. Choral Festival. Every year, we would conduct this festival, which is a gathering of choirs conducted or directed by members, trainees, and former members of the MADS. During the pandemic, we had to bring it to the virtual world. We chose the theme, Our Voices Will Be Heard, in the hope of sending a message to everyone wherever they are that their voices in the midst of the confusion and the difficulties faced collectively by the world are heard and deemed important. We also found it rather fitting to encourage the participating choirs to premiere new works that expectedly also attempted to mirror significant events in the world, such as the effects of the pandemic. As my colleague mentioned earlier, more people have time now to write new music. The result were nights of healing, of making use of music to inspire and motivate others, to encourage those who are losing hope, to make those in isolation feel that they are not forgotten. The pandemic also gave us the inspiration to share more about the MADS other than by singing. So by June, we started doing a video podcast entitled MADS Talk, and then renamed later on, it was renamed the MADS Talk Plus. We thought this was a good way for us to tell more stories about the MADS, things about us that we cannot do by just singing. We talked about our beginnings, brought to the virtual stage some of our alumni and their awe-inspiring wisdom. We also introduced the present batch, these singers who haven't had the chance to really experience being a MADS because of this situation. We got to share nostalgic parts of our archives, which we, like most old choirs, found really challenging, given that a lot of our collections are scattered everywhere. And the best part, other than sharing more music, we also were able to converse with amazing people in the local and even international choral circle. For example, I think we have here, we have with us right now, Dr. Joel Navarro, who was then, yeah, were you in Singapore then, or you were here already? I can't remember now. We also had a chance to mingle with American composer Jake Ernestad and conductor Craig Hella Johnson and many others, distinguished personalities that I did not even imagine I could be in the same room with, let alone have conversation or a discussion with. We were just too happy to share all these. We had this MADS Talk Plus going till March of this year. Last year, we were supposed to go on tour. We were supposed to go on tour of Canada, and we were hoping to go to Cuba and sing there for the first time. But that had to be postponed. But that did not stop us from connecting with choirs, groups, and communities from the different parts of the world who, like us, were also looking for ways to cope with the pandemic. One of the festivals we were invited to was the International Choral Kataumu in Powell River in Canada. It wouldn't have been our first time to be there, and we were very much looking forward to go back. It is a very small town, but everyone seemed to be involved with the choral festival that is held every other year. Due to the pandemic, it had to be canceled, sadly, and that caused a great disappointment to them because they have had this for almost 40 years now. They asked us if we could join the community choir in doing a virtual performance of the theme song of the festival. Of course, we were more than willing to do it. Another invitation we received was from a 35-year-old professional orchestra from Colombia, the Medellin Philharmonic. For Christmas last year, they wanted to showcase Christmas songs from all over the world. So we presented to them a medley of Filipino Christmas songs, which they wondrously arranged. We were so amazed. These experiences helped us realize that reaching out to each other and making music together definitely helped in coping with the situation despite the distance and challenges. So this led to the conception of ANIMADS, as we call it, the Artists Network Initiative of the MADS. In this project, we forge connections with other artists, groups, and communities here in the country and around the world. The primary goal is to reach out at this time and simply inspire each other. We've made connections with graduate students from the University of Arizona with the help of Cinema Respicio, who is a Filipina conductor who's currently studying there. We also had a chance to get together with the members of the Penang Philharmonic Chorus from Malaysia, with two choirs from the University of Minnesota Duluth and the Bridge Choral Collective, where we met singers and conductors from all over Canada. In all these, we shared Filipino choral works as a way to tell them about our country and our culture. The two choirs from the University of Minnesota Duluth were singing Filipino works and they had us listen to them. Very good, amazing. When we felt we've established some sort of a system in the way we do our recordings for our virtual projects, we dared to do another first for us. And that was to release an entire album. It was a special project not only because everything was done at home, but also because the songs, all 10 of them, were new works of esteemed liturgical music songwriters in the country and were arranged for choirs by our very own alumni, plus a current singer who is proving to have a very special talent in composing and arranging. The album, however, had a bigger mission. With the theme of the celebration of the 500 years of Christianity in the Philippines, Gifted to Give, we also thought that it would be a good time to share more concretely with others this year. So, with the help of those who purchased this album, we were able to provide a 3-day conducting workshop for almost 100 self-taught, non-formally trained church choir conductors and musicians. We've also scheduled another round of workshops for the next batch soon. I'm quite proud of this project. It reminded me how immensely powerful music is, not just by how it touches people's hearts when it is heard, but also by how communities are formed and strengthened by it. Even before the workshop for church choir conductors happened early this year, we gave our first online workshop series in October last year. With the help of the National Commission for Culture and the Arts, we worked with some 35 public school music teachers and community-based choral conductors from all over the country for this project online choral leadership program. We learned so much as some of the singers and myself worked with the participants on choral conducting, vocal pedagogy, music theory, and art and performance. The project was so successful that NCCA agreed to support it again this year. I've said this a number of times that one of the things that we can do during this pandemic is to find ways to improve ourselves, similar to what Dr. Angelini mentioned earlier. That's why we thought it would be the best time to involve ourselves in providing more learning opportunities to different groups. Just like singing for various audiences, we are currently offering a month-long workshop for singers from all over the country who are involved in state service. We also have a songwriting development program for budding composers with the goal of introducing more new Christmas songs. And we have more workshops for music teachers and choir conductors. These also become opportunities for the MADs, both present and former, to be involved in community development, something that our founder instilled in each one of us. All these workshops and various projects are our way of spreading the joy of music with others. We are all convinced of how singing can contribute to our well-being. And I do not have to start talking about endorphin, serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin, immunoglobulin. Nosebleed lang. We feel better when we sing together. That's what matters. And that's exactly what our founder believed. And that's why she pushed us all to make others sing in choirs. If every Filipino would sing in a choir, he or she would learn to sing in harmony, and there would be harmony and shared national spirit and passion among all Filipinos, she said. She dreamt of a singing Philippines, and it is this dream that motivates us all to continue doing what she has started. This dream inspired us to create the Sing Philippines Youth Choir when we celebrated our 50th year from 2013 to 2014. Every other year since then, we get around 50 singers from all over the country to come to Manila, rehearse for a week, and join the MADs at the CCP for a concert. This year, we had the fourth batch. We had our online rehearsal camp last July, where we rehearsed two works written by two members from previous batches. The Sing Philippines Youth Choir helps bring to life our founder's vision of a nation singing in harmony and united in song. Last year, also during the pandemic, we decided to produce a virtual premiere performance of Sing Philippines Sing by members of the Sing Philippines Youth Choir. Just a year before that, two MADS alumni collaborated in creating this composition that would become the mission song of the Sing Philippines movement. I would like to end my talk by showing you this song in full. It sort of illustrates what we have been doing the past year. At the beginning of my talk, you heard me speaking about how we are all adjusting to this new normal. We are still adjusting. We are still learning. And while we are doing so, we continue to provide music to those who need, to those who ask, and encourage more and more people to do the same.